perfectly. Okay. Hey everybody, my name is Dave Greco, and I am the art. What am I? The lead concept artist here at Artcraft Entertainment.
You're a drawer.
I got confused for a sec. Thank you very much. I don't know what John's doing. John's not very good at his job, that's why. All right. Okay, so we have the screen going. So today we're actually going to be working on the real pre-production of the Stalker. This is an archetype we talked about a long time ago, and this is one of the few of them I have not really figured out yet. So this is not going to be next that's going to be released. This is just showing what's way down the line. So once we get him figured out, I draw all different versions of him with armor sets, and then we can give it to the modeling team. So really I think this is from like a week ago. I kind of just started sketching kind of a base idea of what I've had in my head for these guys. And so I guess today we can kind of just start exploring them. And then I already know some ideas of kind of what we're going to kind of change from him. I know right now, so I've talked to Blair and Todd and Melissa, and we're looking for him. So he's definitely going to be kind of like right now I think they're like a long range sniper class, but also like melee attacks with some type of like thick bow staff. He's kind of like, and so he's almost launching like javelins for arrows, but I think they're saying his range is gonna be pretty crazy. And he also sets traps, and he's our anti-stealth class. I don't know what John's doing. His throat.
No, they're saying it's echoing.
Is it echoey right now?
Who's saying that?
Simon.
At least it's not pizza
Simon
rolls.
probably has 2 versions open. It's fine.
Okay.
Doggett says he loves you, Dave.
All right. Well,
Sorry, Simon.
too. Yeah. Man, seriously, it's weird
I
not
believe-
seeing the stream.
I believe John.
I feel like I'm just talking to myself here. Okay. Yeah, he's also going to be our anti-stealth, anti-Ganetian duelist class. So he's going to set traps, and I don't even know if they have all that stuff figured out yet. But yeah, so we're going to start figuring him out. I have a bunch of reference up of kind of like forest ranger type of gear. I think the whole idea behind these guys is they used to be humans, and they ate like a heart in dedication to dedicate themselves to Dorian, and they became like corrupted. And so there's a lot of kind of trying to figure out if they're kind of got like a little bit of evil to them. And then Todd said I can even bring it up, and he's talking about the idea that like when you loot other mobs in the game, and you get like their meat and all that stuff for I guess for crafting, that Stalker is one of their perks is they could eat body parts to replenish their hunger.
Oh.
So they could be munching a heart. So he might have like a little satchel where he keeps body parts with dried blood caked on it. And so I think these guys should be like a little creepy. They're kind of like Deer Man. I have like a horror movie.
Well, the picture of our deer eating the heart, that's Dorian, right?
Yeah, that's the god himself. So, well, I should have done this beforehand. Hold a second. I just have to resync my Wacom here. Sorry about this. I don't know if anyone has some questions about this. I actually checked this beforehand. Now it's giving me like a properties error.
While you're fiddling with that, Keegan has a question. Jobs can feel like work, right? Yeah. How do you keep up your inspiration 2 years into the project?
At least with this, especially since I'm handling so much art from the entire game, I'm constantly swapping from like I do environments to characters to a marketing piece to something that's going to go on the website to then we do stuff like this. So there are some days where you get kind of like lost in it, and you kind of have to refine inspiration. So I just dig into other artists' work for a while and really just kind of immerse myself in it, and then that helps a lot. you have like a week, you just start fresh, and then you kind of like crash a couple weeks later, and you start fresh again. It's really bizarre. Okay, let's see what this does. Sorry, this is really driving me nuts. Oh, I think we're missing a cord here. Let me just plug this in. Where's she there? It's not going smooth today.
It's because Gibson jinxed it.
He did jinx me. I forgot this happened before, and then I realized it was just one cord. It wasn't even plugged in. Yeah, that helps. Thought one was missing. All right. All right, this should work. Okay. I didn't plug a cord in. Okay. So basically with a piece like this right here, I'm still kind of working. I have some line drawing over it, but I still have like a lot of like silhouette that I was kind of working on. And so I'm kind of come back in here and mess with some shapes. Actually, we were thinking they kind of have more of a hood also. And so at this stage, I don't have to worry about like specific colors too much. I really just want to get at least like the base of all his armor. Everything looks like, and this is going to be the base model that you start out with. That's what I'm probably thinking right now. So it'll be a little bare bones. You know, this won't be like his played version or anything like that. And this kind of stage too, don't be afraid just to like be real messy with it either. Sometimes you have to kind of go in and figure it out what all your body parts are.
How do the antlers fit in the hood? Is it a custom?
We actually talked about that. We're gonna have like slits in the hood
Nice.
that would go over the antler, through the antlers. So he might have something. At least like he may not pop the hood up, but you put like a helmet on, we can kind of figure that out.
Sure.
So it might look like there was tears in it. It'd be different if you threw the hood over, but I know, trust me. Antlers for any type of helms that may go on later kind of drive me a little crazy. Definitely wanted a bunch of like, I felt like a lot of like layering too with his clothing. Just kind of some like, just worn leather pieces or some type of studded leather. And we were thinking I was going to try to stylize them a little bit more too, where they had really large forearms and hands. And we can kind of figure that out when we can start going down here. Kind of wanted like big, thick leather braces on him. Then even his bow would feel pretty massive. Have like other antlers coming out of it. Let's see here. And then maybe get like a little thin in the waist.
Rich would like to ask, it was mentioned that the stalkers are huge. How huge is huge?
I actually don't think we're making them that huge. I think all our large archetypes are pretty much in the game. I think.
Do you have a rough idea for how tall?
I think they may stand a little bit taller than Knight, but I think that's just because of. Yeah, but they're gonna be kind of hunched over too. I think a little bit. So, yeah, I think that, the antler is, and we'll have like different customizable antlers you can put on, so all different ones. Once we get to like character customization for them. But they're not gonna be crazy. They're not gonna be like the Myrmidon or Champ or anything. So I was almost thinking like it's like they're wearing armor of like human rangers or something that existed before. At this point, it's old and worn, and it could be kind of disgusting. Since I don't know if they're living in the woods or I don't know what these guys are up to. Well, I definitely wanted kind of like a lot of satchels and pouches and stuff on them. Especially if they're... It's weird because, you know, this is kind of like the information I usually get to work with when I start these things. It's like, oh yeah, he's a he can do melee stuff. He's a sniper. He's a trap class. I was like, all right, that's a lot of different things. So, I kind of at first just try to throw it all in, and then if we want to pick out pieces later, we can do that. So even on this stuff right here, it's still being just a little loose. I'm still kind of just trying to block it out. Let's see here. It's gonna have like 17 little shoulder pieces. At least with these, you can kind of throw in different shapes. I just really wanted to break up all his body parts with lots of different little pieces of gear. And you go. I kind of will scuff it up as I work too.
Dog, I wanted to know if you were Team Doggett or Team Cook. I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Team Doggett.
Poor Cook. We just been dogging on him all day, dogging on him.
Well, from what I hear, he didn't accept Doggett's ball gift.
He accepted. He let his dog eat it.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, it's even worse.
That was left out. I'm definitely Team Doggett. Absolutely. All right. So here, if he was gonna have a bag of body parts, maybe people are actually watching help me. Where would you want to carry that thing? I don't think I'd want it.
Carry what thing?
If he's got a special bag,
full of...
yeah, that he carries his body parts in, like hearts and kidneys.
Yeah.
Where would he keep that?
Well, if he's running around being stealthy and using a bow and stuff, you probably wouldn't want it like dangling in the way.
Yeah, it would be tied up against his body.
Yeah. Maybe strapped to like a thigh or something?
If anyone in chat wants to see it anywhere or ideas for it, I'll throw it in. Then that could be what actually makes it in. Since even with these, like usually a lot of these like initial concepts is pretty close to what we end up making. So this can kind of help decide the direction of where we want to go with the Soccer 2s, especially since so much has not been figured out yet.
Dog, it says a fanny pack.
No, I know. It's got to be someone that's not 6 feet away from me. Of course, Doggett wants a fanny pack.
Tinnis said, can't he just pierce the heart on his antler for later like a kebab?
That's true. That would be kind of funny. Slowly dribbles down his head.
We said backpack. Cook said he should hang the body parts of his antlers like Christmas tree ornaments.
All right, forget it.
I don't know what you expect.
I know.
From Twitch.
All right. Can I have this be just shirt underneath?
Someone said a medium-sized bag that is situated to conform to his lower back.
That'd actually be pretty cool. You know what? That would be probably a good idea. So I want to put more stuff on his front. If he had like a small bag that went down on one side. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Because one thing I'm thinking also is, so he's got, if he has a long staff and this like longbow. I was thinking, so you're basically gonna have both weapons on his back probably. But I want, what if we design all of them? I'm trying to think. So I want him. This is a weird idea I've been having. Hang with me through this. So if this is him, you know, from behind.
Xfear said, make his backpack a Ganetian that's been skinned and turned into a pouch.
That should be a good idea. If you had them both on, it'd be cool if both the bow and staff were built in a way where they almost like slotted inside each other. Where they kind of like would almost attach. Only so they both sat, you know, like if the bow staff itself had like this kind of like cut in it. Or the bow had something else. They kind of attached in. I don't know, something I'm messing with in my head that I think it'd be cool to work out later. Then that could actually be incorporated into giving like a really specific look.
Yeah.
Into how they make their weapons.
That's interesting. Have a lore connection there. A paradoxical banana says, the way I was thinking for it is that the bag starts below his lower back. The weapons could be strapped parallel to the ground and on top of this small bag.
Okay, so if we had like a kind of a thing back here, and then have him run on top of that. Actually, having a little bag back here could be kind of cool. We could have it so it's rest back here. We can't really see it from this one, but when we do like a back view later, we could kind of figure it out. Because I don't know if we're going to have some type of like caltrops or kind of like detection devices, or a lot of stuff for me right now is a little up in the air. I'll kind of just start trimming all this stuff. And usually even for these, I'll just start with some like, just some weird shapes. See what they work into later. Because really we hadn't touched the Stalker since I did that first initial image of it that you see on the website.
Right.
And we just really haven't had time to explore him since. He's one of the few left to really explore, which is good. It's a good position to be in. That I have quite a few, quite a few done. Most of them done that people haven't seen yet. So it's nice being way ahead of the curve as far as characters go. That even the next archetype we have coming up, I think I finished the concepts for that probably like 6 months ago. So I'm working quite a bit ahead right now on it, which is always good.
And does he have a quiver like the Ranger does?
I wasn't gonna throw a quiver on him, just because he's just gonna be so overloaded with stuff. I'd rather have bags for traps and rope and kind of like survivalist looking stuff on him. I mean, these guys are basically just surviving the wilderness, but like short of like having like pots and pans dangling from them. So I probably wasn't gonna put a quiver on. His arrows I think are gonna be super large, and like his bow is gonna feel definitely like a long bow when it comes down to it. So right now I wasn't. I think it might be too much. I mean, it could change if we change this kind of like staff he has on his back. That could open up some other stuff, but I don't even think that idea is a definite right now. Kind of happened more from in conversation. So still kind of just knocking down these. That's what all I've been talking about. Are you watching?
Yeah, I'm watching.
Okay. Am I? And then
I haven't really heard you talk about it.
I should talk about the pipeline.
So I guess maybe so. I mean, it starts with probably Todd, right?
Yeah. So
Blair.
if anyone missed the beginning, that yeah. So basically, this is basically exactly how I would start it. So just basically having a conversation with Blair, Todd, Melissa, really, and what were their overall ideas, what they wanted to see when they first thought of the character. And usually it's a lot of kind of design stuff. They might have a couple little visual cues that they thought of. But they leave a lot up to me to kind of first pitch ideas with Melissa and I, which is pretty nice. So like we know Blair's like we want him to be long range sniper. He's anti-stealth, traps, stealth detection, and he might have a couple specific general ideas for how he might play. And usually that's enough. Where I'm just like, all right, let me just go. I got some ideas popped in my head. Let me start fleshing it out. And even when I first did like a real basic sketch of this, I pulled Todd over. I'm like, this is what I'm kind of thinking for this guy. And then Todd might have some feedback where he threw it on the face. He wanted to make sure there wasn't as much jowls on the face so he didn't look like the Myrmidon. He definitely wants him to look very deer-like in the face. So I'll have to go back and kind of tweak that too. So I want like a little mix that's a little bit smarter. It shouldn't just look like a deer head on a human. That would look kind of weird. So then we pretty much go from there. And then so when I do finish this, I'll do like a fully rendered version. That'll get approved. And then that will get just kind of tucked away. And then put in a, sorry, my throat, where's my water? And then put in the schedule for Eric to do down the road. That's pretty much as simple as it really gets. You know, I'll just be working kind of like ahead of the rest of the team, which is usually, you know, what Concept's usually doing. So I'm usually at least a month or so ahead, unless some emergency tasks come up that someone needs something roughed out because they need to work on, they can't figure it out visually. It usually helps for me to spend a couple hours, and that'll just save them extra time. But otherwise, I'm kind of in the wind. The rest are working on vital stuff that's going in-game, fixing bugs, getting stuff prepped for it. Now I just kind of hang out in La La Land, painting deer men that hopefully look super awesome when they go in the game. And that's pretty much what we're doing here. Which is, this is always my favorite part of doing concepts. Sometimes you get some really specific stuff and I don't know, you can't be as free flowing on it and just kind of put down whatever pops in your head. But usually when we don't have like set ideas for this kind of stuff, I can kind of just riff and think of some weird stuff and just get it down. Maybe he's got some janky fingernails, who knows?
A couple suggestions.
Sure.
Sir Carcass said maybe you could mount the arrows on the bow itself, like a compound bow. So like have a couple big arrows like strapped to the bottom that you can just kind of pull right off.
That could be a pretty sweet idea. Yeah, we try to get him somewhere for sure. Because I don't want him like whipping arrows out of nothing. That probably doesn't seem very good either, right? Because I want him to have some like wicked looking arrows. I mean, maybe we could. Right, you know, maybe we could just have. Yeah, I do want to get the arrows on. But yeah, they should be some like pretty wicked looking things. They could have like. Yeah, they could have like different shapes down the whole thing. We could think of some like some pretty gnarly arrowheads. me just rough this guy real quick, and then we can throw him wherever we want.
Wabi said, somehow I imagine his staff over a flattened quiver on his back might actually work.
That'd be cool.
Judging from the positioning, I see where the top of the staff is pointing toward the left arm side, whereas the quiver could be slanted toward the right arm that's used to draw the bow. I could see that too.
That's true. I can't remember. Does the when the ranger uses her weapons, does she throw her bow in her back?
When she pulls out her daggers?
Yeah.
Does she put her bow on her back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Where else would it go?
I mean, it could disappear, I guess. I wasn't sure if she... I want these things to be pretty gnarly.
There were a couple suggestions to have his antlers be the arrows, and he just rips them out, and then they regrow.
That would be terrifying. So we can throw at least that in there. Let's see. Yeah, we can definitely explore that. I think as far as the quiver goes, I think he's definitely gonna need like a back view done.
It's a long arrow.
Yeah.
That's pretty nasty. If you get hit with that thing, it sounds like it might just go straight through you.
It should. It should instant kill a character and delete it from their account. It hits them so hard. Like if you die from a stalker, you have to start a new character.
Well, with the vessels, that kind of
That's true. You have to start in a new campaign.
It just makes your vessel
It boots you from the campaign. It hits you so hard.
Deletes you from.
Yeah, this is actually surprisingly, I've been class I'm really interested in playing. The whole idea of these guys seems pretty awesome.
Oh man, there's some gruesome suggestions.
Hit me.
I really like the concept of the arrows being made out of bone, using dead bodies as quivers, plunging a hand in to pull out a gruesome arrow that is formed as it's drawn out.
That actually would be pretty sweet. We could like make them kind of like bone arrows.
Dan says, stick to art, Dave.
As opposed to what? Oh, my gameplay ideas?
Talking about your
Oh yeah, well,
super arrows idea.
that's true. This is what has to go through my head as I make art.
Greg says he fires ban arrows to delete your account on a hit.
Oh my lord. Bunch of haters. Just let me live my life. This is how I want to live it. Yeah, if these were kind of like chiseled bone,
That'd be pretty
that's
sweet.
kind of like attached to parts, that would be pretty sweet. It's kind of just...
That's a long bone, though.
Well, he could have like attached it and sewed it with...
Right.
He sewed bone together with human skin. So we could have some like dried flesh hanging off it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I could see him being like diseased. Just nasty with like body parts hanging off him.
Absolutely.
This is not necessarily the character we're
Todd's
creating.
like, shut it down.
Yeah. Todd, storm in here. Any second.
Close your eyes.
I think that was some
There
sort
is glitter
of, some sort
everywhere.
of reward for siding with Dog. That's what
Oh
we get.
man. Well, I have a feeling that would probably happen. Just not that soon. Not that soon. All right, I don't even know what I was talking about now. It throws me every time.
We're still talking about the arrows.
Okay.
The stalker quickly becoming this grotesque.
Well, even if like we can just have some of that. I was definitely thinking you could kind of have like a wood and bone type of bow here. I'm almost trying to break it up into these different parts.
I mean, in an RPG, like Necromancer is my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Is it yours too? Don't you like Necromancers?
I definitely like Necromancer type classes for sure.
So I'm down for anything like that.
Absolutely.
I also love that we can craft vessels in Crowfall.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty pumped to that checked out, especially for these guys. They're really gonna. You can craft with body parts, or you can just eat them like snacks, which is. I say, hey, let's do it.
I love the idea of having a shop that just sells Ganeshan bodies. Like,
I know the whole.
happen. It's like a little duelist.
That's what I'm really excited to see is the kind of dynamic of like the traders and people that specialize in certain things when we really get deep in it. So in the end, I'm probably gonna have lots of like wear and texture over a lot of the stuff that goes in this. I just really want to get the idea of like survivalists and they're kind of just like raw hunters out there. I kind of imagine that for this kind of sacrifice that they made was for this type of power. I guess he's gonna need pants. He will need pants. I know Doggett would fight me on that, but he's gonna need them. He's gonna need them. At least like, well, it's tough. You gotta figure out pants for him, but I only want him to go down to like his ankle, but he can't have like capris on or something. That's not gonna look very good.
Something not super intimidating about capris.
I know. Like, does he have like cargo capris on? And then flip flops.
We could make that a thing.
We
Could
could.
start that trend. Cargo capris. Just filled with like animal hearts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What do you got in those cargo pockets? What is the string be going under his arm? Probably not. That'd be weird, huh? That would be weird. Let's not do that. Yeah, it would be going on his arm. I'm like so confused. They can tell me.
Bobby said stalkers don't wear pants.
You might not have.
Wadkui said no pants, Celtic kilt. Rar.
Ooh. That's. Kilt might be kind of cool. I don't know if that'd be too much in one direction. We could definitely play with something. I'm trying to think, you have like weird legs when you have like this kind of backwards hoof type legs that we kind of deal with the Myrmidon. I think of his legs. So it's always like you'd be like careful on kind of stuff, and that's like, what is this gonna look like from behind? I gotta think of that too. That kind of stuff is so much to figure out on the piece that I can kind of just, I'll figure it out at some point. Same with the shape of all the stuff down here. Whoops. And I kind of gave him like a little, he's got like a little figurine base he can hang out on.
If you went with the kilt, Wabi said you'd need a bagpipe for his taunt.
That'd be pretty awesome. Especially if they could like bend over and moon their enemy. That would definitely be the best reason to do it.
I'm glad that John O'Neill isn't in this room to take it.
I know, and lob it up for me.
Lob it. Take it.
Don't you start lobbing them.
I'm not lobbing it up. I'm not doing it. You are HR department.
That's true, I am the HR director here. All right. I still feel like, let's see here. This is usually enough. Like I can kind of drag this out and just line draw on this thing like crazy for a while. Where'd it go? There it is. Let's give a base form to the staff in the back. That's kind of my problem too, is I'm not sure really what to do for his staff. Yeah, I definitely want them to be like really specific looking, so that's something I can really spend some time on later, and then I can just kind of fill it in on this picture. So safe bet is big thick piece of wood with some cloth tied around it. Can't go wrong.
There was a suggestion earlier in chat to make the bow his melee weapon too. It's this big club that he can swing at people.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
Like a literal bow staff.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool if he just meleeed with his bow. Since it's gonna be so big and crazy. Yeah, we could do something like that also. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's something like I could bring up to Todd and Blair. I'm like, oh, what do you think about him doing this? So I'll actually bring that up, because then we could ditch the bow staff on the back, and then go with some crazy looking quiver with these ginormous arrows. So it would be pretty cool if the arrows were just huge off his back. That'd be pretty neat. That's a good idea.
Miro Luna said that elks in real life have a neck beard, and he should have one too.
I know they do. It's weird. So I have been looking at like a lot of pictures of elks to kind of get this all figured out. Let me pull. All right, elk. Let's look at some reference here. I had once. Let's see. I can bring up. Yeah, it's weird too, because like their eyes definitely come like out of their head more. And it's such like a weird shaped. Yeah, I mean like their eyes definitely come way out. I was trying to keep them in a little bit. I was trying to get like a little in between, but obviously not like cartoon elk man where he's got human looking eyes. Like he should still have elk looking eyes, where they're kind of, let's see here. Let's find a good picture here. Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good one. So get a little bounce light on the bottom of the eye. You know, they're still animal eyes, but maybe we'll kind of tuck them into the head a little bit more. Tough thing it feels like too, I remember we did this with the Ganetians, since we were mimicking a guinea pig so much, is their eyes are a lot of like on the sides of their head.
Right.
So when they're looking straight at you, it's weird. It's like their eyes are still kind of over here. If you put them on the front of their face, It's always a problem.
And you want them to
These animal people.
still look heroic, right? You want 'em to
Yeah, you still want to look like a badass
Right.
too. You know, like I just look like a confused deer. Why am I a,
Highlights.
why am I a weird deer in this game?
You have some scarring there too.
Yeah, so that's I really wanted to kind of up the detail on like some of these too.
That's pretty awesome.
These guys look like they've been through the thick of it. Let's see.
I was pretty convinced that the duelist was going to be my main go-to archetype. Now I'm not so sure, man. There's something about a nasty, like, cultist
Like killer deer.
killer deer that sniper
Yeah, absolutely.
that is really
What the hell was that?
really appealing to me.
As you see, like a Ganeshan duelist just like pinned against a tree, trying to
Wow,
pull this
yeah.
javelin out of his chest. That's what I picture.
And he's like eaten.
Oh yeah. And then, and they don't wait for you to die either when they start eating you.
Do these guys have fangs?
They're like velociraptors.
Do they like those Japanese fang deer?
That's a great question. You are alive when they begin to eat you. But already I can kind of start blocking out like these small little gradients of color. I'm always like super into just little gradients of color in areas, just to break it up. Cause even like, oh look, they still have really dark noses. Let's see here.
Another interesting bow idea from Paradoxical Banana. What about putting a sharp hook on one end of the bow that could be used for melee, anchoring the bow, and climbing trees?
I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
It does sound pretty awesome.
That's definitely a good idea. I don't know if we're gonna be able to climb trees,
I don't.
but a lot of it's pretty awesome.
Certainly not going to say that you can.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Blair kicks the door down. Ah!
Stop! But you know, in lore,
Yeah, but that's a good idea. I think the idea is pretty awesome. We should get even more time, because I think we could really start messing with this bow, and it could have like, what if one side of this was just almost like a straight blade?
yeah.
One was a hook, so he just does everything with this thing. He first fires off massive arrows, and then he basically just takes this thing and just,
Yeah.
Can dice you. Oh, yeah, let's do that real
You
quick.
could even make the attachable point craftable or something, right? Like, there's a lot of different ways you can go with that.
That'd be cool too, because then we could have. What if we had something? So this was all cut in.
That's pretty neat. It's pretty awesome.
And we'll just cake this thing with blood and all the other cool, juicy stuff. Sam could basically. I don't even know if I got any good like splattery stuff. Actually, let's do with.
Ooh.
I want it to seem like it was just dried on there. We could do stuff like that and then.
Huh. They do that so quickly, it's infuriating. To watch.
You just have to throw a couple shapes on. That's all you gotta do. But we kind of balance it out on the side. If he did have some type of.
Wabis asked, how many layers do you usually go through when you're doing one?
I go through like a couple hundred layers. I end up flattening the PSD quite a bit though, which infuriates some people because they like to have the PSD later. But like even for stuff like this, at first I just like to throw it on a different layer just because it's like, oh, that blade idea didn't work out at all, so let me just go back real quick instead of repainting the bow. It's just like I kind of do it a little too much sometimes. I've had art directors go crazy on me before because it's not like I'm good. It'd be different if I organized my layers. I'm like, oh, this is my bow layer set, and this is my bow. This is my string layer. This is my. It's just nonsense. That's what it is.
Madness.
I don't know what's even in here. Sometimes I gotta click through it all. Yeah, but this could. We could definitely have some type of hook thing. You know, sometimes I just put a little. Sometimes it's good. I just like to kind of like break up the shapes. You know, kind of just have something down here, kind of threaded around it. That'd be pretty cool. And in the same way, like you guys were talking about with the arrows before, you could do that. Let's actually take the whole thing out now. And see, at least that thing exists on a layer below. And this is when I'll just start kind of blocking out a shape again. With some big quiver. This will be the inside right here. It's what's nice in our game too is, you know, we have like this basis of like a fantasy RPG setting, but because of our archetypes and really just kind of, he lets us loose quite a bit on kind of what kind of stuff we might put in. So I don't feel like too tied to anything. You know, obviously it shouldn't feel too modern or anything, but that always feels pretty nice. You know, and even if stuff like this doesn't work out, it just gives us ideas. You know, kind of started with, I remember like the old Frostweaver I used to see where she had this kind of like glaive looking thing on a string, like on a thread. That was just kind of ideas, just kind of like this bow is, and we're still trying to figure out how it's gonna work. She's gonna use that. But it's just idea, just throw it down. It seems a little crazy, but it's like, let's just get it in there. This is the stage to do it. It's like this type of exploration will not happen later on. If the concept artist doesn't throw it down, then I'd much rather have ideas be pulled back instead of idea just never even been toyed with. You know, we can always be like, oh, that's too far. Let's pull it back. Let's figure something else out. You know, so we'll have this thing starting to come down here. It's gonna be a pretty big quiver. And what's nice too is, let's see here. I think I got that on the same. I hear Blair yelling in another room because he's a weirdo. All right.
I can't wait for him to hear about the changes we've made.
He's going to love these changes. He's going to love them.
I think it looks freaking awesome.
It was cool too. You know what, Blair? I can design a game too.
And in my game, if you get hit with the arrow,
Yeah.
you're ban.
You're dead. Your computer gets fried. It's like an EMP blast.
Oh, now you're just cheating.
That's why we paint digitally. This is why this is not an acrylic painting. Speed is, and then you can kind of just like copy and paste a bunch of these and then paint over later so it doesn't look like a total dupe job.
Those arrows are nasty.
Yeah, especially because like we have really cool stuff with arrows in our game too, where like you can craft like ice arrows and fire arrows and poison arrows, and we'll just put a few in there. Obviously, we'll stack them up later. This is when you kind of go in, you can kind of break up all this stuff. See, there's still a little painting involved, Max. I didn't want to destroy the whole illusion for you. Yeah, he could have different we could make, I wonder if like if we craft different arrows, you'd see different color arrows in the quiver. That kind of stuff would be cool. This is the kind of stuff I'll just throw at them. They'd be like, ah, no, that's not going to happen. But I just want to dream.
A man can dream.
I just want to dream. Yeah, I'll throw a couple more in there. You could have a couple crazy things hanging out the top, or
And so the idea here is that he's a little bit burstier than the ranger, right? The ranger's a little bit more dynamic, but this guy. I guess we don't know yet.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how much Blair wants me to go into it. I think a lot of that stuff is still being figured out, especially because it is an archetype that's so down the road
Right.
that once a bunch of other classes are figured out, and we'll see like, oh, where does his roles fit? You know, sometimes some archetypes steal abilities from other ones before they're created. So we'll have to see.
So there's kind of a give and take between your art and Blair's design, then, right? They kind of feed off of each
Yeah,
other.
absolutely. And I think even for a bunch of the classes, like say the Druid, for example, when I first did the Druid, there was like no information. And I was like, you know, I like Druids in games. It's like, it'd really be cool if it was a mix between a Druid and Necromancer. It's like, instead of like pulling life from just nature and that all, you know, that kind of generic Druid stuff, I was like, well, she just kind of pulls it from like dead animals. That's why she wears like, you know, like deer and bear skulls around her, and then that kind of went into the dark side. At first, I kind of had like, she kind of had like plague-ish type abilities, and so then that went back to Blair. I was like, oh, we can maybe do like this, you know, flip where she has like this kind of like
Balance.
yeah, and so you know, and she had kind of has more kind of like lightning attacks now, but there was definitely a back and forth of how I first draw her. I was like, well, I just think she looks cool because she got skulls on her body. And sometimes that's enough, and then we'll go back and forth and figure it out. So it's nice when you can get some designers that kind of have that working relationship. I know our previous studios has kind of been the same way, and a lot of designers have always been like really good about it. We're like, you know what, that's actually a pretty awesome idea. Let's incorporate that in. I think a lot of people, once they actually see it on paper, instead of just kind of like a nebulous kind of like stat idea or gameplay idea, then it gives them it gets them more excited too, and they start thinking of more ideas. Like, oh yeah, we can go over here. Yeah, definitely. So I remember that definitely happened for the Druid, and I think like most of our classes have kind of been like that. I'm still trying to figure out too. I think at the top, I don't know if I want like his horns to gradient into a dark color or a light color, because it could be kind of cool if they went light. It's hard to. Sometimes this stuff is just good to test. You know, I just like the gradient stuff. I can't help it. Here, I'll do both and see what people like better. Just make it go a little bit more, because I think we could push that. So we got that one. And I'll fade all this in a sec here. If people like it going to black or going to a light color.
Ooh. That's pretty nasty.
Which one do you think?
I like black.
Like the darker one?
Yeah, I even like see some blood tipped horns.
Oh, we can put some blood on there. We have the technology for that. I usually want to go like pretty saturated. You're a sick man, Max. You're making me do this.
And someone suggested maybe rather than fading it like that, maybe you can like paint some sort of camo or war paint on the horns or something.
It's a good idea too. So if it's kind of like
sort of tribal, maybe tribal markings.
Yeah, or you could kind of do. You kind of do. We could do like a patterns. These start to look like some type of weird zebra. That might be weird.
Like gazelles, right?
But yeah, we definitely. I know for these horns, I definitely forgot.
That's a little zebra.
I wanted. Oh yeah, you just caught up. Yeah. It's gonna have definitely, at least on this, we're gonna have different styles of horns. I think we have like big kind of other horns too.
So gazelles have like the ridges. The ridges
Right. Bring that down.
Actually, they're pretty weird looking creatures.
They are.
There's some weird looking animals on Earth. In our
I know, seriously. Yeah, we definitely mess with that kind of stuff. And that's what's easy too, is at least like you can always toggle any of this stuff off. We keep it on for now. I definitely, they probably won't have any, so it's like a starter set, and this is pretty, maybe even have to bare bones some more of this chest stuff after, or even these bracers. I can figure that out at the time. I just want to kind of like, a lot of like, you know, kind of like ranger, kind of like leather straps, you know, looks like they're strapped in like 27 times. Yeah, maybe the bag is attached to the quiver that holds all the body parts. I hadn't forgotten about that. And man, he's gonna need like some way to track like people he's killed, but not like a generic kind of like kill counter on his bow. He's gonna need something, some type of like weird chipped markings. you know, like weird notches of like souls he's taken.
Kills, confirmed kills.
Yeah, like how many vessels he's extinguished. That's when you know you come across a real badass one.
He's got a bunch of notches in his bow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, he'll kill you before you ever see the bow.
Oh, is that 6 knot? Exactly. That's. I thought I saw 6 notches in that bow.
You can picture like a little
Dude, I like this bow idea, man.
little duelist mound, and then an arrow just goes into the mound.
Yeah, Duelist pokes his head out. What's that? Bash.
Done.
You just see the Duelist from behind. Spear coming out the back of his head.
That's brutal. They're cute little critters.
I want to kill them.
They're either loved
I know
or,
I
they're loved or they're hated.
I know I designed them. Or helped design them. I'm going to give you a lot of credit to Allison for designing them. We just try to carry her torch with those guys as best we could. There was trials and tribulations to get those guys going.
Did she do the little assassin duelist? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
I picture him like taking out an arrow and like sticking it in his pouch, get a little heart out and eating it off there like it's a knife or something.
Yeah, it actually gives me an idea too. Like, what if he had like... He needs like little jugs of poison. You know what I mean?
Jugs of poison. To like throw on the ground.
He dips his arrows in or something.
Okay. I was thinking like grenades, but
If he had like poison grenades. So this is the kind of thing like I'll work on. I'm like, I don't know what I don't know what Blair's doing with this
Right,
character.
exactly.
Am I like, guess what? He's got poison grenades.
and then Blair goes, no he doesn't.
I'm like, I already drew the poison grenades. There's no going back. And then he'll just get a little strap over it to hold his little poison containers.
That is a tiny little poison grenade.
It's little. I don't want like these huge jugs hanging off of them, but I was thinking like he could have like a couple of these. You know,
It's more like he's got a little shot, like a little.
you only need to dip the tip in it. That's all you got. That's all you need.
Tina said, because you need to poison something that you pin with a giant ass javelin.
It's just in case.
It's for hunting myrmidons, basically.
Why is there logic in this conversation?
He's a deer man that eats.
He is a
body
deer man,
parts.
Tennis. He's a deer man. It's just ideas. You just want to throw the ideas down and then have them all get ripped right out that you just are so passionate about. It hurts so much.
Ooh. Well, these said maybe a pouch with a thick sap-like poison in it. Some kind of poisonous tree sap. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, like some super...
Like a thick.
Yeah. You guys are better at this than I am.
Yeah, I'm gonna get upset when Blair shuts all this down. or Todd.
Don't let Blair shut it down. Just know, when this comes out, if it looks different, they shut it down.
They're not gonna let you stream anymore.
Tell the world my story. There you go. It's kind of savage. We'll make a little like, golden. Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet, actually. And then dipped on the tip right here. You've been sap, my man. There's a lot of just kind of like bouncing around. Oop. Like I said, this is a fun stage though. I enjoy rendering it out too, which is always kind of nice. But this stage is pretty cool. It's actually really cool having input from all you guys.
That is awesome.
It actually makes like a big difference in me just like I don't know what to do now. Let me go make a coffee and see if something comes to me.
But I mean, think about the changes, right? Because he had a bow staff at the beginning. and
Yeah,
a bow,
absolutely.
and now he's got a glaive bow. With
Yeah, and we can really think of like how this quiver looks after. Cause, and I'll have to compare it to. I'll bring up like when I work on it, like the Rangers, just to make sure they feel really different.
Zelo S said, "It looks like he's carrying urine to attract other deer folk."
I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Uh,
Like he's throws off the scent, so he kind of smashes little urine bottles behind him. Now we're really gonna get the idea.
wouldn't
Can't.
that lure people? Wouldn't that?
Who is Lord? Max.
I guess they know to stay away.
Do you follow
from
urine scents around the woods?
if there were stalkers in the woods and I was, I'd want
That's
to stay
true.
away.
We're sticking with little poison sap. Not urine bottles. He can just go in the woods. There's no judgments. No one judges a deer for going to the bathroom in the woods. I'm getting really sidetracked here.
It's not as sidetracked as Dog Stream was. By the way, it is 4:05.
I mean, we should end whatever, or I could just keep going for a little bit. I mean,
I
But
don't
if,
see any reason we can't run a little long.
all right, we'll go for how about you do like 10 more minutes? We'll go to 4:15. That sound all right?
Sure.
All right. What are some other cool things we could throw on him? He's getting pretty decked out. And that's the thing too is like you can always go crazier and crazier. Like even going back, I'll have to go like retool the horns. I like him dark.
I gotta say, it does kind of look like he's got a P-tipped arrow right now.
Okay. If that's the feedback we're getting, then we will nix P-tipped arrows. The yellow against green always works pretty nice though. So if like he has,
Yeah. I think it's because he's a deer. It's something, I don't know, he's a survivalist.
it's true, but he's not lost at sea or something. That's what people do when they're lost at sea, right? Let's see here. So basically I'm gonna go in. I'm just gonna kind of throw down a little more local color on these parts. So he's gonna be pretty green and brownish. I'm gonna try to break it up with other colors after.
Well, what color are like bane trees? What if it's bane tree sap? Aren't they like a bluish purple?
Yeah, we kind of have the blue tied in with hunger right now. So if he had like these little blue vials, he might look like he might have like little hunger vials.
What if he did?
I mean, that'd be cool. I'm really gonna get the side eye from that.
Well, it could be sap from the bane tree though.
That's true. I'm already on a limb with a lot of this. So you gotta choose your battles.
Well, what's the difference really?
Yeah, I mean blue would look cool, but yellow looks cooler. So these will be kind of more brown, reddish, these little pieces. And then I think maybe for his little undershirt, we might go with like, have like a red undershirt right here. And once you throw down all this kind of local stuff, then we kind of like, we'll figure out, oh, we're going to light it from up here. Yeah, I'll throw a little red underneath all this though, just to kind of, on the edges.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't want it to be such like a flat color. I think you can kind of treat this like some type of underpainting, and this stuff will kind of just like bleed through later. You know, that happens. A lot of stuff. Bring a little more warmth to their face, so it actually feels like there's blood running through them. It can get too cold. I'll have to figure out his hands, and maybe we'll have like this part right here. It could be some type of. We could do. We go back to the brown on these. We could try to bring in. Could be too crazy. Let's see here. Might be kind of neat. Bring in some of this kind of yellow color, and then you can kind of tie in different elements of them. So I think if you just had brown and green everywhere, he's gonna get just kind of muddy looking. But you could bring in these other kind of pops of color. You know, yellow could be too much. Could make him look too... It's hard to say modern, but it's tough. Because then he could have like... This could be like gold buttons, or... A lot of his trim pieces could be gold. You could do small stuff like that. You know, it could end up being more kind of like a dull gold at the end, but that might kind of break. It's kind of like leathery woodsman vibe we're going for. I'll take him out. It's cool to play with. I think having more kind of like a silver on him. So even up here, this could be brown, but we could at least give this brown a little shoulder piece, like a silver trim. Could be worth trying.
Kate asks, how many fingers does the elk have?
They'll have 5 fingers. This one looks like it's got 4 over here. We definitely have been over that. You know, I've definitely worked in games in the past where it's like this kind of animal hybrid's got 4 fingers. This one's got hoof hands. This has got it's just like let's just. They got 5 fingers. This will have 5 fingers. You can get kind of like, I don't know if you can get like kind of cartoony territory.
Yeah.
You know, so they don't have like paws for hands or anything like that. You know, like obviously they still have like deer feet. You know, you don't want to give them deer hands. Kind of magnet their bow to it. But so yeah, we'll go 5 fingers. And it's definitely at some point, I gotta figure out something. I want something like that really drives the look of their face home. That's really gonna make it seem unique. You know, I mean, maybe they have some type of war paint, I don't know. That's gonna take a little bit to figure out, but it feels like they're gonna need something. So basically I just kind of go in, mess with different shapes, or yeah, it does. It's kind of just messing around. Now, let's see here. Where was my local color? So I'll push that back a little bit. If it starts to get too saturated too quick before I even figure out my lighting, I just want that kind of idea of it. And then at one point I'll, let's see here. At least while figuring this out, I'll push back this part of the body. Yeah, we're almost done. Then we'll bring this all back out. Just so it doesn't compete so much with something that's in the foreground.
Kappa John says, get him eyeshadow. Since they use a bow, they need to have good eyesight, and eyeshadow around the eyes helps prevent the sun from shining in too much.
Like football player eyeshadow.
Yeah. Little eye patches. Something tells me Todd would not go for that, but
I think that's it. He's ready. It does help though. It does work. But yeah, that's. I mean, you're definitely right. You could go, because even a lot of I was looking up, like elk eyes. Well, let's see here. We have Batman left. Actually, someone will just put this part in, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Some do kind of have like, it's kind of neat. Almost looks like type of. They kind of have this kind of pattern going on.
Maybe some night vision goggles.
You know, something like that could be kind of cool. Oh, night vision goggles. Well, you know.
Ooh, I see. Ooh.
That's something we'll have to figure out. From like far away, does it become like? Does that just look like the eyes shape? So it might have to be something subtle. We'll have different patterns in the face, and we have like character customization and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably gonna be it for today. But I mean, this is definitely definitely my exact process on when I'm starting to create something new for the game. I basically just have some base ideas from Blair and Todd, and so I get some visual ideas from Melissa, and basically I just start kind of blocking it out like this, and then I'll just call them over. I'm like, this is the direction I'm going. We're thinking about blades on the bow and hooks, and what do you think about this idea?
And we go from there.
Sometimes it gets shot down, sometimes it goes all the way through, but it's always worth bringing it up.
Yeah.
If you have a cool idea, throw it down, because
We might
that's how all the cool ideas get. It's where the cool ideas come from. There's not much like innovation later, like really exploratory stuff. When things gotta get modeled, it takes a whole lot longer instead of me doing an hour to block it out.
Right. And we should reiterate that the next time that they see this, it could be totally different again, right? I mean, the Ganeshan
So you guys
went
will-
through a ton of iterations.
Yeah, so once you see the final, you'll feel the pain of what got cut and what didn't.
Right.
And so, and we'll have record of this. We'll have a nice contrast of what ended up happening. But yeah, absolutely. So this is way down the road. This is not going to be the next archetype coming out. But this is like this is just how my everyday workflow works. So it's good. It's good to be this much ahead. I've been on productions where I was like a week ahead, where I'm basically in a full sprint, because if my sprint stops, the whole rest of the team stops.
blocked, basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if I'm that much ahead, that's a good thing. So awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for
Yeah,
checking
thank
it
you
out.
guys.
Yeah, absolutely.